Osio Ganari. Tawado Anyoya Akea. Short stream tonight, guys. Been real busy. Lots of stuff going on. But, of course, you know, YouTube Cartman, she was at it again. She's using one of her other channels because, contrary to what she claimed before, yes, her other channel did get struck and she has to stay off it for a week. She is also threatening to sue YouTube if they don't restore those previous streams because there was nothing hateful there, you know, other than, you know, white trash, white bitch, etc., etc., etc. And of course, Abe is on there all concerned that I'm just talking mad shit about him like he really registers much other than his racism. Because, of course, you know, idiot like him can't discern between African and Native American. But he is encouraging her to more bad behavior, such as having Harold's sister on her stream. Good idea, Nicole, you do that, because if you do that, then she's violating the restraining order and she gets to go to jail and it'll be your fault. Nicole also has merch now, which she put up only a couple hours after she realized that Dina had merch up. And all of her salivating supporters are all over themselves about it. And, oh, she has so much more merchandise than Dina does and in more colors. Well, idiots, that stuff doesn't even get printed until you order it. So there's no, oh, you have more. No, you just add more. You just add more options to your shop. We're not exactly dealing with, you know, the smartest people. I mean, Boyt, B-O-Y-T, bottom of YouTube. The bottom feeders, the dregs of the barrel. Anyway, I would have gone on later, but I was on a live elsewhere. My sister and I both were. And it's a discussion of Native American supernatural stories, etc., etc. And it's a really interesting because there's a lot of us that go on there and discuss, you know, experiences we've had and how our experiences differ from, let's just say, other people's. Because, like in horror films, you know, something happens and some people are like, oh, what is that? Let's go explore. And Native people, black people are like, oh, fuck that, I'm out of here. Nope, not messing with that. We out of here. Anyway, yeah, Nicole's on her other stream because, you know, she got struck on the other channel and she's got another 6 days or whatever. Now she's got the merge and blah, 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 blah. And of course, you know, the usual, what trash bot Iga? And what trash daughter? And then she wonders why she gets struck. But as I said previously, since I get to repeat myself like Nicole does endlessly, She's gonna sue YouTube if they don't put those streams back up. With what, bitch? Sales from your merchandise? Hate to tell you, but an attorney's gonna cost you a lot more than that. And she keeps talking about how she hates YouTube, hates YouTube. Then get off YouTube. Go back to Instagram. Do all your hateful streams on Instagram. See how fast you get reported on there, because Instagram belongs to Facebook/Meta, and they don't tolerate that. They will have you down faster than you can spin your little tiny head around. Anyway, like I said, not much to say tonight, and I know there's not going to be anybody watching this late at night. I'm really, really tired and really, really busy. I've been working on this gift for my brother's birthday, and then I got to come up with something for my sister's birthday, and then I got to come up with something for my nephew's birthday. Plus, I've still got candles I got to get made. I've got molds I got to get made. Bath bombs I got to finish. I mean, it's just insane here. So, all this while dealing with a fibro flare. I mean, any of you who have fibromyalgia, you know exactly what I mean. I was on a Facebook page last night talking about the 200 plus symptoms of fibromyalgia, and I'm like, are you freaking kidding? I went through that thing, and I'm like, yep, got that. Then there were some they missed, like your hair hurting. I mean, there will be spots on your head where you can just barely move your hair, and it just hurts. Oh my God, it hurts so much. Like you've had a ponytail, a really tight ponytail in all day, and then you untie it at the end of the day, and that pain, yeah, that. Or the insane bouts of itching that you can get. I mean, just out of nowhere, you will just start itching like mad. I have a surface deadness to the outside of my left calf that goes down my leg and into the foot. So sometimes I don't always feel things, but the itching comes from far enough below that no matter how much scratching I do, I can feel the pressure on my leg, but I can't seem to assuage the itch. And I went so crazy with an itch on my foot one time that I even used a hairbrush and just kept scrubbing at it. And after it finally kind of calmed down a bit, I was doing something. I walked into my auntie's living room. She says, "Why is your foot bleeding?" And I looked down. I had scratched my foot raw, trying to get rid of that itch. And I had a scar for probably 2 years from that. And fibro ain't nothing to fuck with, kids. I mean, most of all, women will get fibro. Actually, a lot of the autoimmune disorders is primarily women. And the odd thing is, you know, you can talk about how men whine like babies when they've got a cold and, oh, they're dying, and then you've got a cold, you're still expected to run the household, etc. But when it comes to autoimmune disorders, when men get them, they do seem to get them far worse than women do. There is at least one case in the UK of a man who died from ME, which is myalgic encephalomyelitis, which used to be called chronic fatigue syndrome, and that's one of the things that I have. But yeah, he ended up dying, and I've got a friend in LA who also has ME, and he's on all sorts of narcotics and everything else. He was having a problem with a hip, and there are a lot of doctors that don't even believe that autoimmune disorders are real. So it can be very difficult to get treated. It's difficult to get a diagnosis in the first place. But then when you have to go to other doctors, and oh, that's not real. That's you're malingering. You're faking this. You're a hypochondriac, you know. And this friend of mine in LA was having a horrible pain in his hip, and he wasn't sure what part of ME this had to do with. And he finally got a doctor that listened to him and did an X-ray, and they found out he had cracked his hip. This kid's like 28 years old. And he was walking around on a cracked hip because doctors didn't want to listen to him. So the last several days, I've been dealing with like the swollen legs and feet, which is called lymphedema, which has to do with the lymph nodes not draining properly. I frequently get swollen lymph nodes, and people with ME are susceptible to about 2 different kinds of cancers caused by ME. A lot of them are lymphatic and blood cancers. So I'm supposed to be getting tested regularly, but I haven't had a decent doctor in 2 years, so I haven't had my tests lately. Um, I used to be a regular blood and bone marrow donor. Well, as a registered blood marrow donor, I had never gotten called in to donate marrow, but I regularly donated blood every other month. And being female, of course, with menstruation and stuff, frequently I would test too low for iron to be able to donate. Uh, on the days that I was, or days, months, whatever, that I was allowed to donate, you have to sit through and you have to go through the little Red Cross booklet, and after you've donated, 20, 30 times, whatever it was, you're flipping through it. You don't even really read it, except I happened to notice a page one time that said, if you have been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, stop. And there was a big, huge stop sign in the middle of the page. That caught my eye. It said, if you have been diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, now called ME, you are no longer eligible to donate because of the link to, 24, 25 different kinds of cancer. Now, I had been donating for years before I was diagnosed, and then once I was diagnosed, I called the Red Cross and said, is this going to be a problem? Oh no, as long as you're symptom free that day, it's fine. So I donated for a good 10 years before this came up, and every pint of blood you donate allegedly saves 3 people. So we're talking 10 years, that's 20 donations, 15 if we're being generous because of the iron thing. And so that's 45 people. And who knows how many before I was diagnosed, because they told me it was okay. And so I let them know, yeah, I've been diagnosed with this. You need to take me off your list. Trying to get off the Red Cross's donor list is like trying to get off a Jehovah's Witness visitation list. I was constantly getting calls and emails. It's like, how many times have I told you I am no longer eligible to donate? And after it took about 2 years, and they finally stopped calling and emailing. But yeah, so I've been dealing with that stuff and trying to get a lot of things done around here. I've been visiting with my neighbor who's finally recovering from her bout with COVID. And it was really bad. She's 75, I think. She has a really serious case of COPD. Her kidney function is very low. And she had a 9-way bypass. So her breathing isn't the greatest. So she wasn't going anywhere during this pandemic. Well, she had family come to visit, and apparently somebody was carrying it because she got it. And she got it right about Christmas time, which of course had me in a panic because I'd been there New Year's Eve. So, I sat at home for the 5 to 7 days, and then I used a home test, and luckily I've tested negative every time. So apparently I wasn't there long enough to catch anything. But she got it, and she is still very, very weak. She doesn't really get up to go anywhere because she can't risk catching it again. She can't get the vaccination because of her health, and she can't wear a mask because of her health. And her little great-grandson lives with her, as do his parents, her grandson and his girlfriend. And he had to stay home from school because he got it. Her grandson not her grandson, I think her granddaughter got it, but I don't know if the grandson ever got it. But, this ain't anything to fuck with, people. This is killing people, and people just, our state has dropped the mask mandates. California dropped their mask mandates. So no matter which home I'm at, going out in public is going to be a real scary thing. But, like I said, not going to be on here long. It's just, things are an absolute clusterfuck. So I'm not going to play Nicole's live stream from tonight because I just can't bear it. The continuous repeating of herself and her hateful rhetoric and her threats and idiots who support her. And in one of my previous lives, I put a link in there from Kami where she had made a video about someone's infant child and showed that infant child. So if you go back, I think it's a couple streams back, that link is there to show that she has had a nasty, long history of hateful behavior, including minors. So anyone who supports her is supporting that. You're not the only one with rights, Nicole. Dina has a right too. You've been after her for a year. She warned you, so she went after you. And now you want to cry victim. The only one here crying victim is you. So grow up. You're expected in court on your birthday, and if you don't show up, there's a good chance the judge is finally going to get pissed off enough they're going to issue a bench warrant, and your ass is going to jail. And guess what? The jailers won't change your diapers for you. So you'd better grow up and take some responsibility.